Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome on in. I'm gonna thank a few subs. Let me go back. QDP, thank you for the 39 months. Captain Wad, thank you for 20. Zach, thank you for 11 months. Pal, your name. Thank you for the prime. Hooges, thank you for 2. Botros, thank you for the tier 3 for 23 months. And Gainer, thank you for the 29. Woo! GEEGA from the blog. If only they knew. Silk Song's real? Oh yeah. I want to play more of it, but I feel like I wanna like give it a tiny bit of space, maybe like a week or a few more days before going back and playing more of it, because I want to give other people time to like play it themselves. It's a good number of people commented that they're like, I feel like I can't watch because I don't want it spoiled for myself and I want to like play it as I go. So I'm like, okay. I'll give a little like a tiny buffer so that people could be like ahead, you know, a little bit. I don't mind that. And then while we're doing that, we've got Cobblemon, and I want to continue Metal Gear Solid Delta. I really want to do that. Game is fun as hell, so I want to play more. And what else? I feel like that's all we got. If you do, hype will dissipate. Are you a streamer? You know how this works? No, you don't. A lot of people think that. It's actually worse. First of all, there will always be hype for longer than you think. But it's always worse to stream it instantly unless you are someone people actively seek out for that content. Because everyone else is streaming it and people, like, they don't want to watch the same stream from 3 different people within the day or within 2 days. You know? So if you're, like, starting Silk Song, they don't want to go click on the next favorite streamer after you, then also see them start Silk Song, and then the next day another streamer they like is starting Silk Song. You know, like, they don't mind seeing the content a bit, but when it's so compacted, it's a lot for people. So I'd like to, you know, if it's a game I like care about super deeply, I'll just deal with it and I'll play it right on the spot. But when it's like really saturated, I like to wait a little bit for that to tune down a little. And then mostly because a lot of people in this community play things as soon as they come out. Release day, they're like, yo, I took a day off so I could play this. So I like to let people get ahead in the game a little bit. So that I can, you know, stream it and not have them feel like they're getting spoiled. You know? Like, this game in particular is the one that's so anticipated that I'm like, yeah, anyone watching me, they're just getting spoiled. Because a lot of them are going to go play it themselves. So, you know. If it's a game I feel like there's a little less of a percentage of you that are going to play it yourselves, then I tend to be more likely to, like, just go for it as soon as it releases. Elden Ring was a big showcase of that for non-streamers. Yeah. Yeah, and even now, if you stream it today, people will still watch Elden Ring streams and stuff. It's just insane when it first drops. But yeah. Yeah. So we'll give it like a little... We're not giving it a big buffer. Like, I'm not going to play it a month later. We're just giving it a little bit of a padding. Lime said something the other day about playing slow so people can get ahead of her. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like for me, I don't really try to play games that I'm playing on stream in a way where I'm like, I have to lock in and I have to play the best I possibly can and I have to get through it at a great pace or whatever, because like you can just let people get ahead of you. It's better that way, right? For the same reason. So I'll just talk to chat, focus on chat, and I'm playing, but I'm like, I'm gonna die a lot, you know, because I'm like literally looking at the chat mid-fight, or, you know, I'm talking a lot and I can't lock in while I'm talking. I just kind of like, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Just casually play, you know what I mean? And not try to like be too ultra sweaty. Because if you get sweaty whether you're really good at the game or just a little better, whatever. Either way, you go faster, and I feel like yeah, you get through things quickly, and then people complain for good reason about you being like so far ahead, and now they're getting spoiled. You know. No, we're for backseating. Yeah, no, no, no. I'm not. I'm not worried. People can just get sniped. You know. So it is what it is. We don't judge. No, this chat knows. This chat is they understand like when I'm playing games, I'm pretty much going to play them all casually. I'm not a streamer who's going to sit there and be like I got to get the greatest run of this game ever. I'm going to you know what I mean? Like I really just don't cuz that's not what my streams are about. There are streamers where that is absolutely why people are watching them, right? Is to watch someone go through the game and it's about the gameplay. But for me, it's more about us hanging out while I'm playing this game. So, you know, I think that's more important to focus on. But I don't know how I'd play certain games too much slower other than just like playing casually and that's it. Because I think, I don't know, like you run into a lot of issues where sometimes the content is just gone. Like you did everything you need to do in that area and then you move on. Sometimes you can't slow it down too much more. So, you know, so that's why for this one I'm just gonna give it a little bit of padding. You know. You think of attending any East Coast cons? I'd love to see you. Any that invite me. I always reach out to a few. We always do San Japan and I reach out to like AX usually. I was thinking about a TwitchCon meet and greet as well. I did do one last year. I have never considered it as an independent though, so I don't know how that would work, but I was gonna talk to them. But I kind of don't want to do the standard TwitchCon meet and greet because that meet and greet area is so like it's so cramped. When I did it last year, like I could hear the people next to me doing their meet and greets as well, and the audio wasn't very clear because it just everything was being picked up on the mic. So I think I'd rather do one at a booth. I have to see there's some people that offered me potential booth meet and greets for TwitchCon. I might do something like that if they've still got you know, their setups happening. I have to see who actually got the booth. Not everyone got it, but yeah, I gotta see who's got what and maybe do a booth one because even though there is a lot of like extra sound in the background for those, it's more doable because it's more white noise in the background than like one or two creators like speaking loudly next to me, you know. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think I was actually thinking of reaching out to Dragon Con. Actually, Dragon Con doesn't really like have any VTuber events or anything like that, so I was gonna see if they were interested in having that kind of stuff. That's an East Coast one. That's a very popular East Coast one. And then the season's kind of over, so not maybe like it would have to be like next year, but I'm thinking Otakon and Katsucon are the two that are like usually the big East Coast ones as well. And then I feel like Anime NYC is like not worth it for VTubers. It's like more of an industry thing. You know? Oh yeah, Anime Boston is a good one. MagFest. No, I've never tried to do I've attempted like asking someone on staff if they want that, but it's not really like VTubing is not part of what they have for their programming. It's just not part of that culture there because it's not an anime convention. Right? It's music and gaming festival. So what I considered and I talked to them about was like if they need an announcer for events that they've got going on, right? So if they have an active speedrun thing happening, right? They have like a lot of gaming related events. They have a tournament, something like that, and they broadcast a lot of that. If they want me to appear and commentate something or like announce something, I would do that. Right? Because then you're playing into the gaming side of it specifically, or even music. But I feel like just doing like a meet and greet there like just doesn't make sense because it's not an anime convention. Dokumi. I do kind of want to do Dokumi. I have a really, really, really big chunk of my audience that's from Europe. Um, so it would make a lot of sense. I was really happy to do V Expo today because it's in the UK, and almost like 10% of you that watch me are from the UK. You know, so I was like, this makes a lot of sense. There were a bunch of people wearing the merch and everything, so it was nice to see. But you know, I'm aware of that, so I'm like, I want to do more stuff. It's just that there aren't a ton of conventions, and they tend to not do outbound. Like they don't reach out. I think I have to just reach out to them. So I'm gonna have to do that. Definitely gonna have to do that. You just worked as crew at Anime NYC. It ain't worth. I used to go a long time ago. I used to go to like anything that happened in the city, um, and it was it used to be two separate events. It used to be New York Comic Con, which was just like San Diego Comic Con, and then there was also an anime convention that was separate, and it was New York Anime Festival. That was an older con that used to exist. They used to be separate, and they would happen separate weekends but close to each other. And that con was good. I used to go to that one here and there. But then they merged. I used to go to both, and they were very different things. And New York Comic Con was very like, it was really industry forward, the way those typically are, like Comic Cons and things. And then Anime Fest was more like small, fun, community based, if in a way. They're not too different, but the flavor was different. And at some point they just merged them. And we got Anime NYC like spawning out of the merge, like after the merge, and it's got a lot of the same people running it, and it feels so corpa, not very community forward. Not that that's bad, like it's still a really fun event, but for me, like trying to do a thing there, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Maybe if like you're in a company and your entire company does something there, it's okay. But as like an independent person, as an individual, or even a group of like 2-3 indies, it's kind of like not, you know what I mean? Like it's not the place for that, if that makes sense. It's too big. They're booths for like Crunchyroll and like stuff like that, and like the whole show floor is large industry shit. So, you know, it's kind of like not really worth. Yeah, it's the one in the Javits Center. It is. It is. Batten, thank you for the 2-3. Guess it didn't make sense to compete between the two. Yeah, they merged them for a bit, and then Anime NYC started up anyway because they were like, oh, this shit's too big, you know, like we have to. But the staffing stayed kind of merged for both, and that was kind of like how it changed. The old Anime Festival was very different. But they've always been in the same venue every time, so people don't really know the difference unless they used to go, you know. Anime Central, yeah. I want to do Anime Central again. I don't know. I just feel like I always wanted to do more with cons, and being in Vshojo, I felt like I was asking for a lot of things to be done with cons there that weren't getting done, and it was very frustrating. So now that I can just reach out and do that, I'm just gonna do that, you know. Glorpus, thank you for the tier 3 for 32. Thank you. Is there a con in Chicago? There are plenty. There are cons everywhere. There are a lot of small local ones, a lot of big ones. The only problem is I can't spare too much time to them. There are cons happening all the time. And some of them pay you, some of them don't. Some of them straight up don't. You just don't get paid. You spend hours doing a meet and greet and a panel just cause. And I can only do that just so many times, you know, before I'm like okay, now I'm like really like wasting a lot of time on it, where I could be like streaming instead, and way more people could see me during a stream than during like a meet and greet where we have like what 50 people show up, you know. So I try to do what I can, but I try to not overdo it. We found out from Zen and Mouse that there was a lot of cons they wanted to go to, but the Vshojo team did little to nothing to make it happen. From what I understand, yeah. And then the crazy thing is, like, something that I know, I don't fault the staff for this, because they did not, you know, I don't know who exactly knew and didn't know the financial situation, but I'm pretty sure a lot of them did not know. But a lot of staff would get like hotels and stuff just like paid for there, and they would go to the cons that we did do to be there and generally help, but they kind of like, we didn't need that many people there. It kind of felt like we were giving them a bit of a vacation, which, thinking the financial situation was different, we didn't really mind so much. But then knowing that like those funds weren't like really meant to be used for that, you know what I mean? I'm like, holy shit. And then on top of that, we wouldn't even like sell merch at most cons. We did it AX like one time, and it was just the key art because it was something that they put together really fast. So I was like, come on, man. Come on, man. I don't know. Oh well, but as an independent, we could do more. I don't mind like doing some things for free here and there, but I don't know. I don't want to lose money on it. That's crazy. Not even tabling? No! Right? Isn't that crazy? The number of times... There were also cons that we didn't have a booth at. We had like 2 people doing a meet and greet, maybe 1 panel. But then when we would do like a walk around, you would see that we had like 5 of our staff there. And then the walk around would be done by Oscar, who was never a staff member for us. He just did it because he was great like that. And he was with Senpai Squad, and Senpai Squad had a booth. And yes, we had some collaborative items with them, but that was their booth, not ours. So, like, why were staff members there? To just exist? They didn't even do the walk around or anything like that, you know? And like, I'm be honest, doing V Expo, I did not need a single assistant or manager or staff member or anything. I 100% did all of the tech stuff. I just did a tech check with their tech team and did it all. Like, it's never been something that you actually need physical staff there on hand for. And they'd always like be like, if you guys need anything, let us know. And I'd be like, we don't. There's literally nothing we need because they have all the infrastructure here for us to just call in. We don't need anything. And I appreciated the ones offering, but like, you know, in my mind I was like, they're just getting a vacation. And I was fine with that, thinking that the money was fine, you know? It's in hindsight that I'm like, wow, all right. But again, I don't think a lot of them even knew, right? They just thought this was like work trip or whatever. PR bonus points. I'm sure some of them were on the back end, like talking to industry people, whatever. But when you see those same industry people at like 5 cons for the year, do you really need to go to all of those conventions to talk to them over and over and over about the same shit? Or what? You would go to a con just so you can like leak stuff? It's not really networking. It's just telling people stuff that shouldn't be told, you know? So I was always just like, man, I just want to do more events. I don't want to send staff out to it. I just want to like do the panels and stuff. Like, there's no point in sending people just to like go to parties and schmooze, right? Leakers? Yeah, constantly. I would always hear back, like, a lot of my friends would go to various cons and they'd be like, oh, I just heard about this project. That's so cool. And I'd be like, who told you that? Oh, look at who it is. You know, it was always like a staff member or like something. And sometimes they would just be like telling like one VTuber they were friends with, thinking like, this is okay. But if that person's not under NDA, they can just say whatever, you know? That happened so many times. There are a lot of staff that I think were not complicit in like all the money stuff or anything like that. But plenty of them leaked shit. And I'll say that out loud. I just stop doing that. Stop it, man. I don't care who you're friends with. Don't do it. Okay? That's all. That is all. One of the worst ones did get removed from staff at one point, though, so that's good. That's good. But still. Oh, well. GT, thank you for the sub. What was the staff value add? Yeah, like being at cons? Nothing. You needed like 1 or 2 people. I think people showing face in general was still pretty good to an extent for like just getting to know people. Being chill with people on the back end is very helpful, and hanging out with them at an event is very helpful. But when we pay for it, it's just kind of, you know. That's why I was like, I don't really mind them getting a little paid vacation or whatever. And I'm sure there were some that they paid for themselves. Like, I don't know which ones, but I know some were definitely covered. But I don't know, man. Leaking's bad for business unless it's type up a rumored game. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I already told the story about how like my debut was being leaked. There was my Vshojo debut, like the fact that I was joining was leaked. Not just because there was like a store error that happened, and so the leak was like on the internet a little bit the night before, but even before that, like the weekend before, there was a staff member just showing people all the stuff they were working on and saying that I was joining. So it was well before that one, and I was just like, really? And I said something, and I was like, we can't be having this. We can't send this person to conventions if they're going to routinely do it. And the thing is, it wasn't just that. I heard that other things were leaked by like the same person many times over for like a year, and I was like, dude, stop sending this. Like, ban them from cons. Just don't let them go anywhere. Don't like, or get rid of them, you know, like. And the problem was, like, I liked them on a personal level, you know, like as a person I liked them. I was like, I know why people talk to them, because they say a lot of juicy shit, but also they're really nice. You know. And I was just like, but if you can't help yourself, then you can't be in like this NDA environment. And I didn't tell other staff like, this person needs to be fired or something like that. I was just like, hey, this keeps happening. There needs to be a solution. That's what I said to leadership several times. Please do something. They were like, oh, we will. And then I would hear the same shit. So, time is a flat circle, right? It's a pattern at that point, not chunk of accidents. Yeah, like when it happened for my debut, I sent Gun a message, and I was just like, hey, I don't really know if there's anything to be done at this point, but I'm just gonna express like really unhappy with the store page thing, and then later told him like, hey, confirm like the leaking at a con thing as well. And he was like, yeah, not ideal. We definitely don't want this to happen again. We're gonna work on it. And I was like, okay. I mean, the store thing happened again after that to someone else. It was a different error, but it happened again. So I was like, okay. Not ideal. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna like, how else do you phrase it? There's no other way to phrase it. So that phrasing did not make me mad. I don't want to, in hindsight, beat up every single bit of phrasing. You know? Yeah, foreshadowing. What can you do, man? What can you do? Anyway, Cobblemon Academy is having an event today. Hold on, I'm looking at the announcement. It's supposed to be like now, so I probably should get on. We're gonna discuss the main two house objectives and the competition. Open it while we're doing this. They said they're gonna announce when the first tournament, the first like battle is gonna be, and what the rules are and everything for that are gonna be. And then from 5 to 7, so 2 hours from now, and then the next 2 hours after that, shinies will be 5 times more likely to appear. Blue moons and shiny incenses can be used to like stack the buff, so it's gonna be pretty good. It'll be pretty good. So we can just yap while I do that. It's gonna be good. I'm just saying, leaks on your literal first public-facing collaboration is particularly rough. Not even first public-facing collaboration, is literally me joining the whole group. It's supposed to be like a big secret, is a super hyped thing. I was like, brother, what? Ain't no way. And the thing is, I did everything right to keep that from leaking. Like, my own close friends did not even know that I was joining. I didn't tell anybody. And then we had a few like ways that people had been leaked previously, or that we knew were likely, and like we were really good at making sure that that stuff was locked down. But then someone just says it the week before at a con. I was It's like, what the fuck is that? Like, we were doing so well. I didn't mind the day before one because that wasn't staff's folly, to be honest. That was the merch company that we were using at the time. And they were putting like stuff on the store page to basically preload it so that it existed, but the links weren't active. And then they were going to like make them active later. And we were like, hey, you can't do that, because what happened was by making the items exist on the store, even if people like couldn't find it without knowing the product name and the link, basically you'd have to type in the URL exactly to know to find it at the time. It's not a publish error. They specifically published the items to have them like in the background just without linking to them or showing them elsewhere in the store. And then it pushed it to everyone who's on their app. So everyone who had like the app and was subscribed to like the notifications for the Vshojo store through that app, then like got this notification with like thumbnail images of like my character like all the product images the day before. It's like, bro, it's so simple to have everything ready to go and then you just don't push to prod until later. But they just like, they wanted to do it and they didn't say anything to us. They didn't say, oh, we're gonna do this way. They just did it. The game is loading up. That was why like that was how the day before leak happened. What is it doing? Oh, there we go. It's taking a second. It was taking a minute. But yeah, that's how like the debut leak on the store happened. Oh, my PNG is there. It was all so crazy, man. Put you back there. Anything else on the screen? No. There we go. Prod is the test server. The way they did it was just, they were like, yeah, put everything in there. It'll be fine. We just won't put the you know, active listings up on the site so people can navigate to it. Like somehow that was okay. Oh, I have to try and get Groudon. He would spawn here. I was gonna try last night and then I got tired. I got sleepy and I had the thing early. Vshojo says bring me to your place as soon as I log in. Okay. Dev servers are not real. Well, depends on who you work for. Hold on, let me turn down the music a little bit.